guys, and welcome to my 45th video. Thank you so much for joining me if you are a return subscriber, or hello if you are new. My name's Adrina. I'm an Australian teacher and a mum, currently on a break at the moment trying to figure out this whole teacherpreneur online space, selling my teaching resources and Clipart on Teachers Pay Teachers. So today's video is sort of inspired by what I've kind of been working on recently, which is digital paper. It's been a little while since I've brought to you guys a Procreate tutorial, so I thought it would be really fun to share with you guys 20 simple and easy pattern ideas for making digital paper. I know it can be quite overwhelming sometimes when you are looking at a blank piece of paper thinking, what should I create? What kind of digital paper can I create? And I just want to come in and help you guys and empower anyone that is kind of got that creative block, that is thinking, oh my gosh, what can I create? What kind of things can I create? And so let's just start simple and let's start easy. So I'm going to come in here and I really want to empower you guys with just showing you how you can create some beautiful but really simplistic digital papers using really like simple shapes. You do not have to be Picasso to be able to create digital papers that sell. And I just want to share with you guys some cool patterns that I've used throughout my work that may help you get a start on your own and developing your own style, and that you can use in your Procreate artworks to create digital paper. Let's do it. Okie dokie. So when you're creating digital paper, like I said, you do not have to be Picasso. You can utilize really simple and organic shapes to create beautiful digital papers. So I'm going to show you that. I'm just going to give you some ideas of different types of patterns that you can use to get you started. So I'm going to just try and stick to one brush here today, and the brush I'm going to go and use is one of my favorite brushes, one of my more recent favorite ones, but it's in the drawing section and it is called Blackburn. Now we will have to make it a little smaller and bigger at times, but this is one of my favorite brushes that I love to use to create digital paper with at times, especially because it has a bit of a texture to it. And I'll show you kind of what I mean by that. Oops, let me just make it a little bit bigger so you can kind of see it is a paint looking kind of brush. So we'll go back, and I just want to start out now by giving you the first pattern, which is going to be vertical lines. So let's just bring this down a little, and I'm just going to show you really simply. You do not have to be Picasso, like I said. You can literally just do vertical lines up and down, and you can make nice, cool, organic patterns that will look good as a digital paper. So as you can see, I'm just going up and down with my strokes. It does not have to be crazy fancy. It doesn't have to be perfect. If anything, it's good if it's a little bit imperfect because it gives it more of a natural, organic feel, which I do really like. And I have created papers with boho colors in this kind of style, and I've had really good feedback on that digital paper set, and that shows me that, you know, people are really enjoying that type of simplicity in their products. And yeah, it's just something easy that everyone can do, and it doesn't take too much time, and you can really customize it to however you want, and it doesn't have to be, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just about getting the lines spaced apart, but in a nice way. So I won't go and finish that one off, but I just wanted to show you that is one pattern style you could try. The next one also is a line, but it's horizontal lines. There's a few different things you can do with the horizontal lines. So you could do something as simple as doing a straight line, holding your pen down and making it go a bit more straighter. You could do it all across like that. Or I will show you with the horizontal lines, you could also do half and do another half, and then kind of make it a bit more organic with the actual lines. Or you could, without straightening them out, you could just go, I'll just refresh that. Or you could also literally, or with the horizontal lines, you could just do it really organic, really kind of messy, and you know. It doesn't have to be fancy, like I said. It can just be really kind of messy and just organic. And you know, that could be a nice little digital paper. Someone can add a layer of something on top with some text, and that would look quite modern and quite abstract, but also nice. So lines, both vertical and horizontal lines, are really good to be able to play with as well. All right, so number 3 is, now we've talked about vertical and horizontal lines, let's talk about organic lines. So with organic lines, you can do lines kind of in any way that you like when it comes to organic lines. So you could do like a line that goes like that, goes down, just kind of like, whoops, I made that a bit too small. So you could do line patterning like that and just make it as organic as you want. You could literally put some music on and just like flow to the music with your paper and your Procreate Apple Pencil, and you could just kind of create. It can be pretty therapeutic, and I know this is again kind of more abstract, but you know, someone also might want something kind of abstract to have as a background on one of their products. So that is organic lines. All right, the next one, number 4, is triangles. So this one is pretty fun because you don't have to again be Picasso to do. You can do the triangles as small or as big as you like. Similar principle to the vertical lines. They don't have to be perfect. They can be kind of organic and kind of just a little bit imperfect, especially when you're doing boho. That's kind of, I think, why I love the boho kind of theme, because there's a lot of room to make mistakes and there's a lot of room to make error, but also in the same token, it's like those mistakes are also encouraged, because boho is like different, and boho is kind of like, you don't have to be cookie cutter. It can just be a little bit odd and a little bit different, if you know what I mean. So you can really get kind of creative with the triangles. You can do them a little smaller if you wanted to, but it's really good to be able to kind of play with size and see what you like, and see if you like to mix and match them as well, like make bigger triangles and smaller triangles together, or if you want to kind of keep them around the same kind of size. This is just an example, but I know that simple shapes can, you know, also be really relatable but also impactful. So that is just kind of one thing that you can do here as a pattern, just simple triangles, and just fill your page up until you have finished, and you could have a little triangle digital paper. Number 5 is rainbows. Now rainbows, I'm obviously doing this in black at the moment just to kind of give you an example of the pattern styles, but you can do them in colors for sure, and I love doing my rainbows in colors, but just for now I can show you what they look like in just a black and white version. So for rainbows, again, they do not have to be perfect. You can have them with 3 lines, or you can have them with 2 lines. You can make them really abstract, and the great thing about rainbows is like they always look good kind of no matter what you do. Boho rainbows are really actually quite popular, and I find a lot of people like to use them in like their classroom decor, and you know, sometimes in their products, depending on what they create obviously, but there's a lot of room to be able to make mistakes, but also for it to be very forgiving, because with boho style, it is that kind of messy, grungy look almost in a way. And so yeah, I really encourage you to give rainbows a try as a pattern as well, if you are thinking of what you could do for your work. And I will say, if you did create a rainbow that you liked, for example, and you wanted the exact same rainbow throughout your whole page, you could just go up to the lasso tool and you could circle the one you wanted. You can grab it with your pointer, and then if you swipe down with 3 fingers, it'll come up and you can copy, and then you can open up a new layer and swipe down with 3 fingers again and press paste, and just drag it over, and you can see you've got the exact same rainbow, and then you can fill that in if you liked a particular rainbow and you wanted the same rainbow all throughout. Again, this is just some ideas for patterning that you could use and you could do, and they do look really nice in color, and I'll show you real quick. You can make them as thick or as thin as you like. You can even add extra detail, maybe add some spots. The ideas are endless, but they do look really nice when you do them in color. But I just wanted to show you that rainbows are a nice little pattern technique that you can also use in works for digital paper. Alrighty, so number 6 is raindrops. This is actually one of my favorite kind of ones recently to do. And again, you can do them as thick, as thin, as little, as big as you want. You can mix up the sizes and the shapes, and you can just go for gold and really just draw little raindrops all throughout your digital paper. Or like I said with the rainbow, if you liked a particular one, you could just copy and paste it and go and spread them out throughout the digital paper. These raindrops look really nice when it is in color, and I will show you what I mean because I made one recently actually in my rainbow collection, but this is just an example of patterns, so that's why I've done it in black and white. But I'll just show you real quick here in my rainbow collection here. I made this rainbow kind of watercolor one, and I think that looks really cute. And you know, I think they're just very simple in the shape, but look how effective and colourful and bright they look. And it just, looking at those as like little raindrops just make me feel happy, and it makes me feel like I think kids would really like to have that as a background on something that they're learning from. And again, this with the black and white still looks really modern, and adding text on top of that would still look really nice as well. I will let you know if you do use this same brush that I'm using, I really like it because it kind of has a bit of a painted edge effect, but just be mindful, sometimes it is important to kind of go over it because sometimes it can look a little messy. So just sometimes when you are using this brush, just be mindful that it can look a little messy, and sometimes there's gaps. Like I like the gaps for most part, but sometimes you do need to go over them twice just so it's not so gappy and not so messy looking, if that makes any sense. The next one is going to be super easy, and it's just literally crosses. So using crosses, you can make again them as thick or as thin as you like. So yeah, that is the crosses. Again, I'm trying to just give you the example. These are a little bit messy, but it doesn't have to be perfect. But again, like this is me rushing, so I would probably spend a little bit more time and effort, but it's just to get the main idea out to you guys of kind of a patterning style that you could use to create some digital paper. So yeah, that is crosses. So the next one, number 8, is diagonal stripes. So again, you can do this as thick or as thin as you like, but basically you just do diagonal stripes. As simple as what it is. And you can make digital paper using stripes. Again, like if you're on Procreate here, just hold it down when you're doing a line and it will go kind of more straighter. And you know, that is pretty simple, pretty modern, and you could put something on top, add text to make that cool if you're using it as a digital paper. But sometimes simple is best, and sometimes simple is nice. And you know, you'd be surprised actually what people buy. Sometimes people just want something really simple. I know sometimes I even really, you know, like simplistic papers myself. So yeah, so in tandem to diagonal stripes, we then have number 9, which is squiggle stripes. So this one is a bit more free flowing, but squiggle stripes are just basically you're squiggling and you're kind of like going diagonal and trying to like, I guess they're not really a stripe, are they? They're more squiggles, but I'm just going to call them a squiggle stripe for now because I don't really know what else to kind of call them. So yeah, just as simple as the diagonal stripes were, same thing, but just add a bit of a squiggle to it. and that is number 9. All right, number 10 is dots. So literally making dots. If you want them to be more circular, you will have to change your brush. And like I said, I really like this brush just because of the painted effect, because it makes it look a bit more like artistic, I think. But if you did want something a bit more circular, then I would recommend maybe like a monoline brush to do these circle dots. So simple, but black dots on white paper, they are a vibe. They are like modern but so simple, but they are effective and I really like them, honestly. So that is number 10, dots. So number 11 is using 3 elements in one digital paper. So you could use something like a triangle, a circle, and a squiggle. And then you could basically rinse and repeat. Triangle, circle, squiggle. Let's go again. Triangle, circle, squiggle. And like I said, boho is really forgiving. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's what I love about it. And I guess in my own mind, I classify these as boho. They might be considered under something else, but I guess I'm just classing them sort of boho because they are unconventional, I guess, in some ways, and they don't have to be like so perfect. So that's what I do like about kind of like the patterns that I'm showing you today, and just how easy they can be to create, and it just gives you a nice starting point to be able to play around with things as well. And so yeah, you just could literally continue on and draw as many as you wanted. Fill all the white area out. Again, I'm not doing this so cleanly. I'm just kind of basically giving you the idea, and you can put it in a nicer way, more laid out format. Okay, so you could continue that. You could even just duplicate that, move it down, and then duplicate it again till you kind of filled up most of the area. And then you could then fill in the extras, and if you wanted to join them as to one, just swipe them down together, fill in some more until all the white gaps were kind of filled. Right, so number 12 is arrowheads. So something so simple as an arrowhead, literally. Make them big or as small as you want. And I really feel like arrowheads are kind of pretty modern as well, actually. And you can do them thin, you can do them thick, and you could do them any kind of way you wanted, and they still have this kind of modern look to them, but also something that is kind of, I feel like, artistic in some way. Yeah, you could obviously do these with a range of colors. You could do them in black and white like I'm doing here, and you could just play around with these and see if that is a pattern style that you like to do. Like I will reiterate, this is not how I would necessarily do my digital papers as such, but they are giving you examples of how you could use certain patterns in a digital paper set. So yeah, that is the arrowhead style. Number 13, my favorite number. I was born on the 13th of December, and I actually see this in a lot of graphic elements, even throughout a lot of branding, especially lately. And basically this one, number 13, is dot clusters. So you might have seen in some branding online that they have what's like, it looks like dot clusters. So they'll have like a circle, and it'll literally just be of circles. So it's like a little cluster of dots. And so that pairs really well with like a digital paper. I'm trying to make this as circular as I can to make it look sort of modern and cool. So that's kind of not as circular as I'd like, to be honest. But what I could do, maybe if I can widen it a little. No, warp. If I go into warp, I could widen it a little bit. But yeah, you'll find that dot clusters are something that is present throughout the graphic design community, at least with some branding I've seen. They use kind of these dots in like marketing campaigns and stuff like that, along with other obviously branding elements. But yeah, it's just like interesting. So you could do that in whatever way you wanted. You can make them big, you can make them small, you could kind of do whatever you wanted with these. And again, you'd have to just play around to see kind of what you would like and how you think they'd look best. Again, this is not necessarily something I would have as a digital paper, but it's just the idea of a dot cluster that might help you out with deciding what kind of things you want to make. So yeah, that's the dot cluster. Number 14 is organic shapes. So this one can be really versatile because it can be something that literally can be anything in a way. So organic shapes can literally be from something like looking like that to something looking like that. Like, it's like basically a wonky shape, really. And not a standard shape. So organic shapes are pretty cool in some ways because you can get really creative with them. You can interlock them together to kind of give you a bit more of an interesting artistic look. And yeah, they're just actually really easy and fun to kind of draw as well, because there's no pressure in having to create a shape that is so perfect. It's really nice to just be able to be and have this organic shape with no rules really of how a shape should look. So that's one kind of pattern that I actually do like. I haven't done much of the organic shapes on my on Tealazzo Clipart recently, but I do enjoy drawing them. And you can even, color them in different ways as well, which is kind of cool. Like, you could fill in the different parts. This is just to show you kind of like what a black and white kind of version would look like. But what I mean by like the different parts, you could fill in like that and leave the white, or you could do like just the black, or you could kind of like do it like that. Like, there's so many different things you could do with it, but it's just kind of cool that organic shapes can be something that could be used in a digital paper pattern. So that is that one. So number 15 is paint strokes. So similar to the vertical lines that I showed you in the beginning, the paint strokes, that's a bit too big. Paint strokes are just kind of the same, but you want to kind of do them a bit longer and make them look a bit more like someone's got a brush and is painting kind of with it. Pretty much similar to the vertical lines, but the thing with paint strokes is you can do them in like quite a thick form as well. Like, that is medium, I'd say, in thickness, but you can do them also, I'll show you here, you can do them also in like a thick form as well. Like, it looks quite artistic, but also, quite bold and impactful. So that is another little thing that you can do with paint strokes. You can have them thin, you can have them small, you can have them kind of like thick like this. All depends on your personal preference. The next one is going to be solid squares. So really simple, but just literally squares. You can just use these squares and fill in your page to make your digital paper. And this could look really nice in colour. It could look nice in black and white. But yeah, just using squares. All shapes and sizes are fine. You can do them small, you can do them big, you can do them however you like. And again, like I said, the whole kind of boho vibe, I guess, that I like is really forgiving because you don't have to be perfect. And that's, again, what I love. I love being able to just have the freedom to create with no rules in some ways. And having that organic feel makes it feel a little bit closer to the real thing if you were to paint them naturally without obviously doing it on a digital platform or program. But these simple shapes I'm showing you can be really simple in idea, but can be really bold and impactful too as a graphic element. And that's what I really like about these simple shapes I'm kind of showing you. All right, similar to the solid squares, we also have open squares. So instead of filling them in this time, they look just as good, just having them literally open. And what I do like about this, you can also interlink them if you wanted to. You don't have to, but you could make them like this. You could interlink them. and you could kind of just do that, and it kind of also gives them that modern feel. Having them without them being linked is also really nice and modern too, I think. But yeah, it kind of gives it that arty style and something that looks eye-catching, really, at least I think. So take what you will from these. I have a few more before I finish, but I'm just kind of actually really enjoying this process of showing you different kind of patterns that you can kind of go and use, and I hope that maybe you're finding some of these helpful. Number 18. This one I have used quite a bit on my Tealazzo Clipart store, but it's basically like leopard print. Now I will say I don't think it's this brush I would usually use, but I'll show you with this one anyway, because you can still do it with this. So with leopard print, it's kind of like a jelly bean shape in a way, and then kind of like matching it up. That's a bit big as a leopard print, so you could make them smaller, but basically it's like, think of like a little jelly bean shape, kind of 2 jelly bean shapes, and then like a circle. And then with this, what you would do, for example, if you were trying to make the leopard print, you could have a color underneath. Just do that for example, and then what you'd want to do is you'd kind of want to have a white to go underneath, just under it, kind of like that, but you'd want a lot of them, so then it would look more leopard-like. But basically, if you think of the pattern as kind of like 2 jelly beans together and then like a dot, and that's kind of the best way I can kind of think of describing it. You don't have to always do the dot, you can just do like 2 jelly beans and then just kind of have it like that, and then have like the white underneath. But yeah, it might look a little different because I'm using this particular brush, but when you put the white underneath, it does tend to look a lot nicer. All right, number 19. Now this is one of my most favorite patterns, and it is the Dalmatian style. Dalmatian style comes in so many different shapes and sizes, so you can really get creative with this, and no Dalmatian like print is going to be the same, which is what I love. If you have had a look at my store before, you'll know that the Dalmatian prints that I have all different type of styles. I've got like ones that are like small like this, got ones that are like even smaller, and I have ones that like use nice big spots like this. But the good thing about Dalmatian print is like you really can't mess it up too much. Like you just have to draw kind of not quite circular shapes, but kind of like off shapes, kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it, but if you can kind of see them, they're a little bit wonky, they're a little bit not purely circular, but you can just do so much with Dalmatian print. I love it as an actual print, and I love Dalmatians, and I just think they just look so modern. I just love them. I don't even know how to describe it. I just love the Dalmatian print. I think it looks really modern. I think it's eye-catching. I think it's simplistic, and I enjoy making them. And you can do so many fun things with the Dalmatian print. And yeah, do mix it up with different sizes. Do add a little curve in between, just kind of like this, like a little jelly bean also kind of shapes. Don't be scared of adding kind of weird shapes, because Dalmatian prints aren't all just like circular. Yeah, so I just really like the Dalmatian print, and like I said, you can do them in so many different sizes. You can make them big, you can make them small, you can make them tiny. It's just really fun. And so my last one, number 20, is going to be paint splashes. Now this is going to kind of be a little weird for my last one, but it's kind of like a raindrop, but like on an angle. So it kind of looks like this, or even if you think of it as like a flower petal, you could think of it as a flower petal. This is another kind of pattern style that you could do that is kind of a little bit interesting. And again, you could do this with it also being just the outline. You could do it something like that. You could also fill it in like I have here, but I guess the trick to it is just kind of having it on an angle, like a teardrop on an angle, or like a flower petal on an angle. And so again, all of these kind of shapes that I've kind of shown you here today, these patterns, are really forgiving, and you can make them look really beautiful when you add color to them. You can make them look really bohemian when you have bohemian colors with them. And I just love kind of being able to know a little bit about different types of shapes to be able to use in my kind of works. I guess you could really think of this more abstractly, but I don't know, I just really like it, and I think, you know, some people out there enjoy this look too, and I have found some success with my digital papers, so I know that they do sell, and I know that some people like them and like to use them. So, and yeah, you can just kind of do lots of different things, and then even with this you could add extra things. You could add just little dots, you could add like little crosses like we did. You could like do so many different things with it to make it look kind of, I guess, like doodle style or just more arty. So that is my 20 simple and easy digital paper pattern ideas. I hope that you learned something today. I hope that maybe you're going to give some of these a go and a try. And if you do, let me know how you went with them. Alrighties guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that I've empowered you to give one of these kind of pattern techniques a try. I really love making digital paper on Procreate because it's fun, it's easy, kind of therapeutic actually, but also like it's just fun to be able to be creative with it, and especially when I kind of target the more bohemian style where you do not have to be so perfect in the shapes or anything like that. I just really like the fact that there's room for error and there's room for it to look artistic but also purposeful. So if you did give any of these pattern techniques a go, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I truly love Procreate. I love the freedom of creativity that it allows me. I love all the different types of brushes that you can use on Procreate, and I just love that when I do create digital paper, for me it's like, I love the fact that you don't have to have like a really rigid rule to be able to create within this kind of niche, I guess. So as a mum, when I am trying to be creative in a small amount of time, digital papers is the way to go for me because I feel like I can still create them. They're simplistic enough, but they're also impactful enough, and I really enjoy making them. So that is one reason I love digital papers. I'm actually quite surprised on my TPT store at how popular some of my digital papers have been. One of my best things that continue to sell has been a digital paper, so I know that there is a market for digital paper in some ways, and I really enjoy making digital papers. They're really fun and I just enjoy them, and I will continue to make them. And so I thought, you know, hopefully by sharing some of these patterning techniques that maybe you guys can also feel empowered to create your own digital papers. And again, they don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the most technical skilled person to be able to create any of this. If you are, that's amazing, and utilize those skills. But if you are someone that you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm that creative, or I don't know if they'll like my work, like I said, there's a lot of room for error when it comes to like utilizing shapes for digital paper, and especially I guess in my kind of boho theme or whatever you would like to say, I like to think of it as sort of boho because it's like unconventional, kind of arty, kind of just different, and that's what I love. I like that I don't have to have a rigid rule that I have to follow, and I can just kind of be creative and just let my creative energy flow. And that's one thing I love about digital papers. Thank you once again. Feel free to like this video to let me know if you enjoyed this content involving Procreate. And if you haven't checked out any of my other Procreate tutorials, then definitely do, and I'll have them somewhere here on screen. Thanks guys, see you in my next video. Adios!